Hello everyone, my name's Anthony Cummins and welcome to this. This is an introduction to Taoism part 6. Now remember, you are here on the Natura Ryu channel and we're using Taoism to find a better understanding of samurai warfare and the philosophy of the samurai. So what are we doing today? Basically, we're going to look at the different ways of divination in Taoism. Now, divination is basically predicting the future through some form of medium. Of course, we all know tarot cards and the crystal ball. So let's look at the different ways that happened in ancient China. Number 1, oracle bones. Now these are like turtle shells and tortoise shells, whichever one they have in China. Now there's actually a specific way to form the shell and break the shell up into different areas, and what you do is you ask a question of the gods and or of the supernatural, and you throw the shell into a fire, and then when you take it out and you look at the cracks and you can see, okay, this is a yes answer, or this is a positive answer, this is a negative answer. And they're also divided into a positive answer with negative aspects or a negative answer with positive aspects. And this really goes back in date. It's a very ancient way of divination. I do know the stories of them trying to find maidens for temples, where they actually bring a newborn female girl and they will then throw the shell on the fire, and then if it gives a positive answer, that girl becomes a maiden. If it gives negative, she goes back to the family, things like that. So there are this is a very ancient way of divination. The second part is feng shui, and this is literally wind and water. And this is the idea, you're all really, most people know it's feng shui, and you all pretty much know this. The idea is that there are certain elements to an environment or to a position that are positive for building something or burying someone or doing something, and there are negative places for doing, like putting a mirror. Never put a mirror here, or never put your feet in this direction. Of course, this is still adhered to in China. They do still do this a lot. And Kyoto in Japan is built on this system. The dojo at Katori Shinto-ryu is built on this system. It's a very old system that's still in use today. Number 3 is the I Ching. Now the I Ching is very famous. It's possibly one of the, if not the oldest books in the world, and it's based on hexagrams that are images that are made of 6 lines, and there are over 80 of them, and if I remember rightly, that's from memory. And if you throw coins multiple times, you work off a chart until you're given your divination or your reading. However, back in the older days, they did use a bunch of sticks, and there was a much more complicated way of doing the I Ching. And the I Ching is extremely difficult and extremely deep, and it takes many years to study. So that is a massive part of divination in Chinese law. The 4th version is spirit writing. Now this is called automatic writing, where you will let go and a spirit will take over you and you will write, and messages come forward. And there's ways of hanging brushes, or maybe pushing brushes and getting kanji from them. The book we're using from the associate professor, he has actually not gone into detail yet about that, but basically it's the spirit writing through an implement like a brush. Now the 5th type is oracle blocks. This is where you go to a temple or a shrine and you ask a yes or no question, and you get given some blocks that are different on different sides, or rounded or square, and you throw the blocks, and depending on the response you get gives you a yes or a no answer, and there's factions and bits in the middle, and depending on what sort of sect you belong to, there may be different versions. You can still go to Japan today and get like little fortune cookies. They're not cookies, but you get you shake it and a stick comes out and you get a number, and then you get an answer to a question. There's things like that, which is obviously, I'm not saying that's the same, but you get the idea. You go to your temple and you throw these blocks and you get an answer. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. What do you think, guys? What types of divination have you done? Let me know in the comments below. The comments are open on this series of videos. Let me know about your experience with divination of any form.